All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you guys for joining us today. I know that we're going through a lot of challenges with the industry and as well as with COVID. So we get a lot of calls from our customers telling us, asking us pretty much what's going on, trying to get a good understanding of what's going on in the real estate market and how COVID has affected the market. So we thought we'd put this together as an informational webinar just to kind of update you guys with what's going on in South Florida with the real estate market, give you guys a good understanding. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and see if we can do this more frequently, maybe on a weekly basis if possible, and just give you guys updates as they come along to keep you guys up to date with what's going on, and maybe alleviate some of those fears and some of the concerns that you guys have about what's going on in the real estate market in general. What I'd like to do is just kind of introduce myself a little bit. My name is Derek Olivier. I'm actually the broker owner of One Market Real Estate. I've been in real estate for about 17 years now. One Market Real Estate is a boutique real estate firm based in Coral Springs. We currently have 21 agents throughout South Florida. Our team, our concept is a little bit different from other companies out there. Each agent represents a local market, what we call their one market. So you'll have an agent in Boca whose one market is Boca. Another agent maybe in Miramar, and her market would be Miramar as well. Her one market would be Miramar. So what we think we'd probably try and do is, as we go on each week, I'll bring a particular agent from a different area just to speak to that community itself, because every community in South Florida has been going through some challenges. And we want to make sure that you guys have all the knowledge available and what's going, and just have a good understanding of what's going on in your local area, as well as Broward as a whole, and Miami-Dade as a whole, or Palm Beach as a whole. So with that being said, I'm going to just jump right into it. One of the bigger questions we've heard, actually, and I've heard like every day, is what's going on with the market? Is the market going to crash, right? That's probably the #1 question that you probably have on your heart and in your mind as well. I know a lot of people are hurting right now, and they're comparing it. Usually the first comparison is to 2008. I'm gonna say 2007 because I saw it start happening in 2007. I was actually in real estate back then. I've been in real estate for about 17 years, like I said. So I was here during the crash. And I can tell you that during that time period, it was different from what we're experiencing today. So if that gives you any sense of relief, I hope it does. It was substantially different back then. As a realtor, I saw people getting loans who were not able to afford those loans. So what I think happened in that situation was the market was inflated based on incomes that were not really there. Where in this situation, this is more of an external issue where it was internal before. Also, in addition to that, the type of job loss that happened back then were more in the business sector as well as the manufacturing sector. In April, we lost a little over 20 million jobs, and the bulk of those jobs were in the leisure and hospitality industries, as well as some other industries. But the business sector as well as the manufacturing sector is the two sectors that economists usually use to determine how the market is doing. So those jobs have still been, we've lost some of those jobs as well. However, those jobs are still established. And so as long as we continue on the route that we're doing, where the types of jobs that are being lost are not certain types of jobs, I think the real estate market on a whole will stay stable as it's been showing. We'll go through it. We'll start really going through the communicating the numbers. I'm not an economist. I always say that first and foremost. Understand I'm not an economist. However, and anybody who tells you that they can predict the market, I would not necessarily listen to 100%. Because of the fact that, you know, I remember when that crash happened, people were making predictions left, right, and center, and none of them were right. But what I can tell you is I'm looking at the trends, right? And from the trends that we're seeing is what we're going to be speaking on today. And we'll talk about just in general the market as a whole. I can tell you, like I said, I'm not as concerned because of the fact of the type of job loss, and things are changing around. Calls were pretty slow in March. However, sales were still occurring, believe it or not. And we'll get into that a little bit as well, all right? And first and foremost, I mean, I talked briefly about what happened in 2008, which is, I know, a big concern for a lot of families. A lot of families were hurt back then, and the concern that that hurt will happen again during this time. But during that time, a lot of people were qualifying for loans that were not supposed to be qualified for those loans. And we actually brought on an actual mortgage broker just to speak to what's happening in the mortgage industry. And I think one of the other questions we always get is this a good time to buy? mortgage-wise, right? So maybe Karrif can speak to that. Karrif is actually a loan originator with Gold Star Mortgage Financial Group. He's actually one of our preferred lenders. Like, he's been with the Gold Star team overall, has had over 30 years experience in the mortgage industry in South Florida. One of Karrif's specialties is actually closing loans in less than 30 days. One of the deals that I worked with him was actually over the Christmas holidays. And it was crazy because I was like, Karrif, I don't think you're gonna be closing this year. And I think I gave him the loan in December, and he was able to get it done in about 20 days almost. So during the holiday season, which was crazy, right? So with that being said, Karrif, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's jump right in.
All right. What's going on, everybody? My name is Karrif Gardner. I'm with Gold Star Mortgage. We have been lending, direct lending, for the last 20 years. I've been lending and originating out of Fort Lauderdale for the last 10 years. Okay. My background is in accounting and finance. I actually own a tax firm. I've been doing tax returns for small businesses and entrepreneurs for the last 6 years, which what led me into being a loan originator. I wanted to be able to assist my clients and also my colleagues, my friends, on how to purchase a home, because the finance aspect of real estate is probably the most important. You can't, unless you're in a position where you're going to be buying a house cash, you have to get a mortgage. And with everything that's going on with COVID-19, the mortgage market has been up and down. There has been lending changes by the day. So this is the reason why, I want to get on this call and just drop a few, just a little bit of information just from my aspect of the business. Derek is an absolute stud in the business. We've closed a few deals together, and I have not seen a realtor that's willing to fight for closing costs and willing to try and get a better deal for their client than Derek Olivier. So I appreciate you having me on the call and being a part of your team.
Okay, well, awesome. Thank you for that, Karrif. Definitely what I guess one of the questions that we kind of get is that, we look at the situation, we talk to our customers. There are a lot of people out there. I mean, some people are okay, but a lot of people out there that are really hurting, right? And a lot of people can't afford to pay their mortgage right now. I know there was some legislation passed recently with the CARES Act to kind of help with that. Can you speak to that and kind of tell us maybe the good and the bad of the CARES Act change and program that was implemented a couple of weeks ago? Karrif, I think we lost you.
The CARES Act that was passed by, you lost me? Can you hear me?
You're in now. You're
hello?
Okay.
You're in now? Oh, okay. All right, great. So the CARES Act that was passed by Congress, okay, the main thing with the CARES Act is for consumers their mortgage under a forbearance, okay, under a forbearance or a deferment. Now, with that, under the CARES Act, you're allowed to do a forbearance up to 180 days. And then after the 180 days, you have the right to ask for an extension for an additional 180 days, which is a total of 360 days. Now, my recommendation for clients, you really need to read the documentation when you're going to forbearance, okay? Because forbearance does not omit the debt, okay? You're still going to owe the interest, and at the end of your forbearance term, you're going to owe the lump sum and the interest that accrued during that time period. All right. So the main thing with forbearance, it covers federal backed loan, which is like FHA, VA, USDA loans, and then conventional loans, which is backed by Fannie and Freddie. Okay. One thing that I'm going to suggest to any consumers that's experiencing hardship and is in a position where they feel need to go into forbearance and you need to make sure and ask specific questions, because you need to know exactly what you're getting into. Because a lot of times what I'm getting is people just hearing, I'm going to just skip my payments for the next 3 months. And then they just sign the documents, but not really reading the fine print or getting in detailed information about what they're getting into when they go into forbearance. Because there's a difference between forbearance and a deferment. Deferment is just you're going to miss the next 3 months, and they're just going to take, let's say you're on a 60-month auto loan. You're asked to go into deferment because of what's going on in COVID-19. All that's going to happen is now your 60-month auto loan now goes to 63 months. They've now taken your 3 months and put it on the back end of your loan. Forbearance is different. All right. You take a 3-month forbearance or a 6-month forbearance. Of course, you're not going to make the payments during that forbearance period, but at the end of the 6 months, that lump sum is due. So to prevent yourself from going into what's called payment shock, all right, what's going into payment shock, because I do have clients that would, what happens is they go under forbearance for a long period of time, and then they adjust their lifestyle to now to the money that they're currently saving. And then when the time period for when it's due, now they hit with 12 months worth of mortgage all at one time. And the thing is, ignorance of the law is no excuse to not make the payment. If you signed a document saying that you're going to make the payment at the end of the term, no matter what you say, it is due. So you just need to make sure and just ask the questions. These are questions that you if you're on the line right now, these are some questions you need to ask and you're thinking about forbearance, these are questions you need to ask your loan servicer. Okay, will you owe the entire amount at the end of the loan? Because some people will, some people won't. They have different terms. All right. Can the terms be extended towards the back end of the loan? That's another question you need to ask. And will my monthly payment be higher to make up for the deferred amount? So that is my thing in regards to the CARES Act and forbearance and deferment.
So your number one suggestion pretty much is to make sure that that they save, if they do take part of this program, they speak to their lender or their
Yes.
servicer and
Absolutely.
terms of that agreement first.
Right.
And then secondly, if they don't have to spend the money, they go and put it maybe in a bank account or a separate bank account pretty much and save it during that time period is what you're saying pretty much, right?
Right. Now, this is my thing, is that if you are financially able to make your payments and you're not experiencing financial hardship, I don't recommend doing the forbearance. That's not for you. All right, just understand the terms. Not only that, if you're going under forbearance and then you are trying to purchase a home or refinance, you got to understand that that will disqualify you from purchasing a home or refinance. If you're in that time period and you're trying to now purchase a home and your current loan is under forbearance, because when we pull your credit report, that's the first thing we see, that your loan is under forbearance. You now need to take yourself out of forbearance, and then you need to catch up with whatever payments that you missed if you are trying to purchase a home now or refinance. Or you wait until the period of your forbearance ends, and then 3 months.
Yeah, I think we lost you again. Yeah, your volume's gone.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, like I was saying, if you missed your payments, you need to catch up on your payments if you want to qualify for a purchase or a refinance, or you wait till your period ends, and then 3 months after, you will then qualify to purchase again after your forbearance period. But you cannot be under forbearance and try to take out another loan.
Gotcha. Also, one of the things that we found out is that a lot of customers, like you said, are still thinking about buying a property right now. And like I mentioned earlier, are concerned about the market in general. Like, how are the interest rates right now? Is it a good time to buy from a mortgage perspective?
On a mortgage perspective, it is a fantastic time to buy. All right, versus last year, just 12 months. What people need to understand is that if you watch the stock market or anything like that, the mortgage rates, the 30-year mortgage rates are tied to what's called the 10-year treasury bond. If you look at that trend, you'll see how high they were 12 months from now to what they were when the pandemic hit, when they announced everything that was going on with coronavirus in mid-February. You'll notice that the 10-year bond took a huge nosedive. All right, where mortgage rates became, especially for like 2 weeks, straight, mortgage were at a ridiculously low rate. Then it spiked, and then now it's starting to regulate at the lowest rate. We're now seeing rates in between anywhere from 3.25% to 4%, versus last year they were 4% to 5%. Okay, when the coronavirus just hit in February, we saw rates drop down to under 3% with no points. So right now, if you are in the market to buy and you are financially stable, you have your down payment, your jobs are still current, this is the best time to buy, because interest rates are the lowest they've ever been and sellers are motivated to sell their homes. So that's a great combination. Sellers are motivated to sell, and then interest rates are low. So I don't think there's any other better time to buy if you are financially able to do so.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. See, that's one thing I would say though, too, with interest rates being that low, this is it's just, for me, it's like it's a no-brainer because of the fact that you're getting so much value for your money. I know I get that.
Absolutely.
What happens if the economy crashes? What happens if what happens last time happens again? I always
Hmm.
tell customers, just play that concept out. Let's play it all the way out right now.
Hmm.
Interest rates are really low, so that means anybody who would tell you that you're looking for an investment or any kind of purchasing, that's the time to buy, right? When interest rates are that
Right.
low.
Hmm.
But just play it all out. Like, let's say the economy does, heaven forbid, crash, right? Let's say that does happen. If you really need a home for a personal property right now, for a personal investment or a personal reason, think about it like this. After that 2007 crash, 2008 crash occurred, people were not able to buy a home for at least 3 to 4 years after that because of the
Right.
fact that banks got so tight with their lending practices that only individuals that were making, were putting in, were making a good amount of money, as well as who had a lot of money to put down on a property were able to get
Hmm.
the financing. So
Right.
what happened in this situation is that you will be unable to buy a property more than likely because banks won't be lending at the time. Are you guys experiencing any kind of tightening right now in the market?
Well, what's definitely happening in the market is that the requirements have increased. So the documentation that we would require more in the middle of the process, we need them up front. All right. So we're very strict on the requirements because of what was going on with the mortgage market going up, the instability in the mortgage market. What happened is that they started to raise the minimum requirement. They raised the minimum credit requirement. It went from being a 580, you can get into an FHA loan with a 580 credit score, to now they want like a 680 minimum. There are banks right now, they want a 720 credit score minimum just to be in the game for a mortgage. Now, as a direct lender, our loan criteria are a lot more lenient than a lot of the major banks. So we'll still take a client at a FHA or a conventional loan at a 640 credit score. If you are looking to buy right now and you're just off in regards to your credit, as a part of our service, we will work on your credit for you and at least give you a 30 to 60-day game plan to put you in a position to buy. So if you're not in a position to buy now, based on a credit standpoint, we can get you in a position to buy within the next 30 to 60 days, no problem. So that's the restriction, what's going on with that.
And that's exactly what we experienced last time, where after the
Hmm.
crash occurred, there was so much tightening in the market that people were not able to get loans. And
Hmm.
that's a concern. And essentially, if you think about it like this, if you do buy the property now and the interest rates are as low as you said, 3% is like really low. 3.5 is really low for any
Hmm.
kind of, and to get that property now at that low rate, if you were to wait and the situation were to happen where a crash would happen, like we said, because of the tightening of the market that's even occurring at this moment, you may not qualify anymore. And then in addition to
Right.
that, let's say that the values of home values actually do go down, but because of the tightening of the market, the interest rates maybe go up a little bit, right?
Right.
Just like that, you're not qualified again. So it becomes a situation, or maybe you do qualify and you buy a home, but you're buying it for the same price you're buying it now, and you
Hmm.
miss all these months of appreciation that you could have gotten, or even months of at least owning a home and not paying someone else for your home, right? So
Right. If
it's-
if I can say one more thing in regards to the rates, okay, so the difference between getting a 3.5% rate now versus waiting to buy and then getting a 4.5% later on. It's the difference in the loan amount that you're going to be able to qualify for. So the lower the interest rate is, the lower the monthly payment. If the loan amount that you're qualifying for is capped based upon your debt to income ratio, so if your 3.5% is going to equal a lower mortgage payment, we can now qualify you for a much higher loan amount. That could be the difference between you qualifying now at 3.5% at 350,000, or waiting, a year from now, 6 months, nine months from now, going over 4%, and at that same amount, you, instead of qualifying for 350, now you qualify for 300. So now what you've done is just now you've killed your purchase price because you've waited for the mortgage market to either the price of the homes go down, which we don't expect them to go down, and then you're going to allow interest rates to go up.
yeah.
So that's why we're saying, in terms of time frame, if you are willing, if you are able, if you are looking right now, there really is no better time to buy.
Yeah, well, and like you said, last year it was at 4.5, and
Mm-hmm.
to see it at these numbers now is striking to me. I'm like, wow, I don't want to go out and buy a home right now. So thanks so much, Karrif. We're gonna just jump over to maybe Rose Thompson. She's actually one of our realtors here at One Market Real Estate. in 2019, she was actually our top producer. She was recently recognized as the highest ranked realtor over with Rate My Agent. She beat over like 3,000 other realtors, believe that or not. That ranking was based on customer appreciation and customer validation. So she got that ranking as #1 right now. It's awesome. I don't know how long she'll hold it for. Hopefully she'll hold it for a little bit longer so I can keep bragging about her, right? Rose is actually a mother, a husband. She's a wife, a mother of 3 kids, 3 beautiful kids actually, and she's a proud alumni of University of Florida. Rose, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm here, Derek. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect.
So I'm going to make you host, Rose, just so you can kind of get an opportunity to kind of share your screen, give us some information. I know that Miami's been hit the most with this COVID-19 and probably been affected the most out of all the South Florida counties. So can you just tell us a little bit more about the Miami market and what's happening down there?
All right, give me a moment. All right, Miami was one of the hardest hit by COVID. And as you can expect, it was also one of the hardest hit counties with the market. For example, Florida in general, the closed sales was down about 20%. If you compare April's numbers, April 2020 to last year's numbers, Florida was down about 20%, but Miami-Dade County was down 31%, close to 32% in single family home closed sales. And that's about, let's say about 400 homes per month for the month of April was less than what they sold for the month of, in 2019 for the month of April. So we have 400 less homes closed in Miami-Dade County just in the month of April. If you want to look at the listings were also down significantly for Miami-Dade County. Florida in general was down about 27% in new listings in the month of April. However, Miami-Dade County was down 42% this year compared to last year. Inventory, this is a good thing. Inventory is down in South Florida. That's good for the sellers, but not as good for the buyers because there's less properties available. We had less homes listed than we had sold. So we have a shortage of homes as we have had in the past. So that increased significantly in the last month. The good thing is that the median time to contract, because we have less of an inventory, it's taking a lot less time for a person to go into contract. So your home as a seller is going to stay on the market for a lot less time. So in general, the prices are higher because there's less inventory. Prices are higher because there's more of a desire for the buyers to purchase because interest rates are low, as Karrif has mentioned already. So our buyers are grabbing the little homes that are on the market. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, so with that, honestly, like you said, that's what we've been seeing most places. Because of, it's pretty much like I'm not an economist, of course, but like I said, it's a supply and demand thing, like you mentioned. Because there are less properties on the market, what we're seeing in Miami, pretty much what you're saying is what we're seeing in most of South Florida, that it's more of a seller's market still because of that. And although the home sales are actually going down, the actual value of homes are going up, right? That's what you're saying. In Miami, what was the percentage there in Miami? You said it was, I believe you said it was 7.3 on the median home sale. Is that
yeah,
accurate?
the median home sales have gone up 7.3, which is significant. It's actually higher than what's going on in Florida in general. So Miami is staying strong as far as sales prices. Yes.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's almost $30,000 in profit over the prior year that homeowners are getting by selling their home now. That's crazy.
Yes, definitely.
I know that we can speak to that because we've had some listings that the sellers decided they just needed to pull back from, right? Because of the COVID. And as a result of that, you have all these buyers that are hungry for property and it's just not there, right? So,
yes, but on the positive note, I have been getting a lot more sellers contacting me recently. So I do believe that that is changing. Just in the last day or two, I've received multiple calls from sellers that want to put their home back in the market. They do realize that this is a time for them to sell. Property values are going up and the buyers are interested in purchasing. So this was a win-win for both sides.
And I like also like you work in Broward actually. Your one market is Miramar, and in Broward we've seen the same kind of numbers increasing. In total, the median hail sales price in Broward County was $381,000 in April, right? In addition to that, like the increase was 6.1% just for single family homes, which is a testament to the fact that because of restricting, I think last month it was 14.7% down in active home sales. So as a result of the strengthening of the market, as a result, we're seeing a strengthening in the market pretty much in regards to home sale values. But in Miramar itself, like I said, you work in Miramar. How is Miramar coming along, and what's going on there market-wise, real estate market-wise?
Well, the city of Miramar is doing very well. The market is staying strong. Of course, as is expected, the closed sales are down 31% compared to that of last year. But if you look at the median sales price of single family homes, it is up right now 17.5%, close to 18%. Wow. Yes, wow. Miramar has been strong. We've been holding our ground for quite a while, and that's very exciting. The median price is up, the average prices are up. Inventory is down, but that does help in maintaining our price value. New listings is down as well, but I think that it's going to turn around. Just recently, yesterday actually, I was out in Miramar purchasing from a local bakery, and the activity was just out of control. There was no room for parking. There were clients everywhere getting haircuts. I think people are starting to feel that we are getting back to some type of normalcy. Maybe not what it was before, but I definitely feel that people are starting to get back to their lives, and the prices are strong. So I think more sellers are gonna jump into the market, and as a result, there will be, our inventory will increase and we'll have more opportunities for the buyers. But numbers are definitely strong in the city of Miramar.
Gotcha. And every month, for the last 2 months, we've been kind of looking them over. I'm sure you've been looking them over for the last 2 months from March and April, and the numbers have been steady, as you said. So quick question for you. I know those numbers look great, but there's still a lot of people hurting in Miramar. I've had some friends who've had some challenges down there as well. Can you speak to anything that's happening in the city of Miramar? Like, what is the city doing to help? Are there any things that you would recommend for customers and things of that nature to kind of help them along during this tough time?
The city of Miramar is doing quite a bit the city of Miramar is doing a lot for their residents. I'm so proud to be a member of the city, to be a resident of the city of Miramar. For example, some of the things that they're doing, right now they have a testing site located in East Miramar. You can walk up to the testing site and get tested, and that's running 5 days a week for several hours. That's something they're doing to keep this is something they're doing to keep their residents safe. Also, just about every week, if you go onto the Miramar website, you'll find out that they are feeding people every week. You can go by and pick up bags of food that could last you the entire week. And in addition to just distributing regular food, they're giving hot served foods. So for Mother's Day, for example, they served hot meals to 100 mothers. And they recently, for Haitian Heritage Month, they've paired up with a Haitian restaurant and have been distributing hot meals. I believe it's about 100 or so each day, but they've had several events where they've done this. And the mayor, I think he's been very transparent, keeping everyone informed with what is going on with the stats in Miramar. And he's also been able to share the resources that are available for small businesses, for unemployment. He's really shared information so that people don't feel lost, so they know where to go when there's an issue. There's been so many initiatives actually in the city of Miramar. I'm very proud of the work they're doing and how they've been a really strong support system for the residents during this time. I know as a resident, I feel like my city cares about me and providing resources where there may be lacking in households.
Mhm. Wonderful, wonderful. So, I mean, like I said, I think that it's great to hear that those numbers are doing well, because I know a lot of sellers come to me from time to time too, and they always ask me questions like, you know, whether they should wait to sell their home right now, like what could they do and things of that nature. And to see the numbers as good as they are in Miramar, it brings some solace in knowing at least when we do speak, we're continuing that trend. Like I said, that trend of things maintaining or increasing in Miramar by 14%. That's crazy. So that's some good news in a very sad time period. That is good news for people because, as you know, home ownership tends to be a person's biggest investment, and sometimes it's your nest egg. And you always want to know that whatever you're spending that money on, that you're going to hold on. As you hold on to it, it'll continue to appreciate, so that when you're looking to retire, you can then take that money and do what you need to do to kind of carry yourself to the next journey in your life. So thank you so much, Rose, for everything. Do you have any other comments you're about to say?
No, I want to say the condo market, I noticed is starting to go down a little bit, but based on my experience, recently I closed one in the month of April in Miramar, and it was within 24 hours, it was on the contract, and for full market price. So I don't see, if it's marketed properly, I don't see any issues with someone being able to close something, sell something quickly in Miramar. That's a condo, because I do see that there was somewhat of a slight change downward for condos, but my personal experience have been that the market is still strong. You can sell something in a day or two if you market it properly and just get the word out.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it too. Like you said, just getting back into the selling aspect of it. I would say that a lot of sellers also ask me like, should I have people walking through my house right now? And that's a concern. So that's one of the things I do. I'll kind of just briefly speak to that, guys out there, just to kind of let you know. I know that is a big concern to have people coming through your home right now. It's probably a two-part question. I always say that it's a two-part question when people ask me that question. Essentially, one part of it is the home vacant. If the home's vacant, you know, that's the easy one. Let's talk about that. The vacant home, essentially, you can have people walking through. I would just say if your home is vacant, definitely take the time to clean it and to try and sanitize it on a regular basis. Although new information just populated, I think it was on Wednesday, or was it Thursday, Rose? I think, where the CDC said essentially that that the contact from getting COVID from surfaces was not as serious as they thought it was, and so that's a good sign for us, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, we definitely want to take the time to wipe down homes. And I always make this joke for realtors out there who are listening as well, that you should have that home cleaned on a regular basis. If you can't get a cleaning company, then guess who the cleaning company is? It's you. So definitely get the mask, the hazmat suit out, and go and wipe down some surfaces, some doors, and make sure it's safe. Because with one market, I know our biggest concern is our customers, the customer safety. So we try our best to make sure that we can do whatever we can to help in these kind of situations. And if it requires me getting out there with a hazmat suit on, with some gloves and some goggles, if I need to, I'll wear a splash shield, even though I don't need one, while I'm cleaning the house, just to get it done. I think it's something that we need to do. It's incumbent upon us to keep the public safe, right? Now, like I said, it is a two-part question. So if it's a situation where you are currently residing in the home, there is technology out there that we actually utilize. We've been utilizing this technology since like we first started as a company. It's one of the things that we've kind of embraced in the very beginning. There's technology that right now which allows you to actually have someone walk through your home. It's called a 3D tour. They can actually walk through your home from the comforts of their couch, right? And I've seen situations where people have gotten the 3D goggles on, and they put the goggles on and they're able to physically walk through your house. What we would do is we'd actually hire a licensed photographer to come out, take amazing pictures, as well as use that 3D technology. And then it creates a situation where, I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but people can actually walk through a home by just clicking on a mouse, and they'll show you different angles, and they can walk through virtually online. It's pretty awesome. So with that being said, I would say that it is a personal decision, but you can utilize and lean on that technology to kind of get you through the way. Just have one person come in at one time, walk through the house, do what they need to do to get those pictures taken. And then just like that, before we have anybody walk through the house, they would have to go to the 3D tour and have to put in an offer first before they even have an opportunity to look at your home, just to minimize the contact and the risk that you would ever face. And of course, as your broker, as your realtor, we would be actually standing in front, making sure that everything is taken care of, even maybe wiping down the surfaces after a customer leaves if necessary. So with that being said, thank you so much, Rose. I appreciate it. Nakisha, I'm gonna go ahead and jump over to one of our other realtors. Her name is Nakisha Pryor. She's been practicing, she's actually a lawyer as well. She's been practicing law for 8 years in Florida and in Georgia. She's an experienced litigator, having previously served as a prosecutor and commercial litigation associate for 2 prominent Florida law firms. Nakisha is the founder and managing partner of Pryor Law Group, a real estate and business law practice. She's also the founder of Cornerstone Florida Title and Abstract, a full-service title agency. In addition to being a lawyer, like I said, she is one of our One Market realtors, part of our One Market family. So I'm just gonna have her jump in and speak to a couple things as well. Nakisha, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Derek. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us.
Well, with that being said, we had Rose speak a little bit about Miami. Can you speak to a little bit to Palm Beach? Like, what's happening in Palm Beach right now? And are we experiencing the same things that we're seeing in Miami-Dade and Broward County?
Yes, so we're seeing a lot of the same trends that Rose talked about for Miami-Dade. We're seeing a lot of that for Palm Beach County as well. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys so we can just. Can you switch me over, Derek, so I can share? There we go. Okay, guys, so I just want to share a little bit of the statistics for Palm Beach County. So like I said, a lot of it is similar to, a lot of the trends are similar to what we were seeing in Miami-Dade and Broward. So for single family homes, as you can see, the closed sales declined for the month of April of 2020 as compared to April of 2019. There is about a 30.5% decline. However, the good thing is that the home prices, the average home prices have actually increased substantially. So for April of 2019, the median sale price for single family homes in Palm Beach County was $350,000. For the same period, April 2020, we're seeing the median sale price of $365,000. So that's about a 4.3% increase. And then we also see the average sale price went up by about a 0.5%. So while overall the number of closed sales declined for April, and that's something that we're seeing is actually getting back, is back on the uptick. The median sales prices are still really good. So it's still very much a seller's market. There is still a lot of demand, as Karrif addressed at the beginning of his presentation, because it's a good time for buyers to buy based on what's going on in the mortgage market. Similarly, for condos and townhomes, the average sale price was also on the increase. Those prices increased about 5.4% over the same period, April of 2019. So prices are going up. It's a good time to put your house on the market if you're a seller. As it relates to, so that's essentially what we see going on. Like I said, it's similar to what we see, similar to the trend that we saw in Miami-Dade and Broward County.
So what I'm seeing on your screen as well, I'm noticing that the monthly supply of inventory, that's just to kind of give the audience an understanding of that, let me explain that a little bit better. What the monthly supply of inventory is kind of what's called an absorption rate. It's the way we kind of determine as realtors what's happening in the market, right? So, but we'll look at and say, okay, if I were to take all the homes that are currently listed right now, how long would it take me to sell them off? In this particular situation, you're looking at it, it said in 2019, April 2019, it took 5.3 months to sell off all the inventory that they had. Currently in April of 2020, you see it's 4.2. Now, to kind of give you the range and understand the range a little bit better, anything from 0 months to 5 months represents a seller's market. Anything between 5 months and 6 is just a normal average market. And anything above 6 is more so a buyer's market. So as you can see, back last year, this same time, homes were actually in more of a normal market. But you can see that that has decreased substantially to the point where now we're back into a seller's market. We've been seeing this trend happen. Like I said, I look at the trends. That's my main goal, is to look at the trends of what's going on in the real estate economy and have a better understanding that way. And from the trend that we've been seeing is that monthly supply of inventory has been creeping up. It was originally like 3 months, back maybe 2-3 years ago. And it's been creeping up slowly to 5%. And then as soon as that crash happened, we've been seeing that in Broward, where it just kind of snapped back to a seller's market. And primarily, like you said, it's 18% down in active listings. So as a result of that, there aren't as many homes for sale. So I totally get that part. Now, we talked about Palm Beach. I know that your one market is actually in Broward. So can you tell us more? Your one market is Margate. Can you tell us more about Margate and what's happening there?
Okay, so the market trend is very similar in Margate to what we've been discussing so far. So Margate is a fairly small municipality. So if we look at the closed sales in Margate, we see that that was 88 for the first quarter, and that's for the entire first quarter of 2020. Now, if we compare that to Coral Springs, which is a close by neighboring municipality, those closed sales were substantially higher. It's a much bigger market, a lot more inventory going on there. The year-to-year change from 2019 to the same period 2020, there was a 29% decline in the number of closed sales. But again, like we said, that's the trend that we've seen so far. However, that median sales price, that increase year to year for the same period has been 2.7%. Okay, and the average sale price increased 7.3%. So again, that points to the same trend that we've been seeing, where the average home prices and the median sale prices have increased. So it's, again, a really good time, has been a good time for the city of Margate, as it is the trend for Palm Beach County to put your home on the market.
Gotcha. And with that being said, I also mentioned with Rose, I was just trying to get a better understanding of the community and what's going on there as a whole, the city of Margate. Has anything been done, any initiatives been pushed to kind of put a situation where the city of Margate now has helped in any way? Like, what's going on in Margate to help with the people that might be still hurting or suffering from the as a result of COVID?
Sure. So the city of Margate has really stepped up in implementing measures to benefit the residents of the city. The city of Margate participates in the Broward County Public Schools food distribution drive. They do that through Margate Middle twice per week. And so families, you know, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the statistics about how many families go hungry or children go hungry, and they rely on those meals that they receive at school. And sometimes that's the only meal some children receive. So that's been a big concern. So the city of Margate participates in that food distribution drive. That's done through Margate Middle twice per week, where families are able to go by and pick up food, and they can actually pick up multiple meals. So pretty much a family can get food for the entire week by going to this food distribution drive that's done twice per week. Another thing that is very interesting that I wanted to share that the city of Margate is doing is actually they have a COVID-19 antibody testing drive that's coming up on May 26th. So the city of Margate is partnering with Innovative Transfusion Medicine, and they'll be holding this blood drive where people can donate blood. And if you are a COVID-19 survivor, they're collecting those and doing those antibody testing, because obviously, you know, they're talking about the convalescent blood recovery that they're using in trying to find a vaccine or treatment for current sufferers of COVID-19. Another interesting thing that the city of Margate is doing is that they are actually helping out small businesses that have been affected by COVID-19. So the Margate Community Redevelopment Agency, or MCRA, is actually giving small businesses grants of $2,000 for small businesses with employees of 1 to 15 who are in the MCRA district. So the city of Margate is giving out those grants to small businesses. So those are just some of the main things that they're doing. You know, there are a lot of ongoing efforts.
Oh, that's amazing. That's actually amazing. I know a lot of small businesses are hurting right now with the lack, because most companies, as I know, they can't last a month without income. You know, that's challenging. So for anybody, so it's great to hear that Margaret stepped up and assisted in the way they did. Hopefully, we can all get back to work and get this horrible thing behind us. Um, with that also being said, I know that you know, you do a lot of things, Nakisha. You have an amazing company that you run, and I definitely want to kind of lean on that a little bit just to get a different perspective. We heard the mortgage perspective from it. I would love to understand the title agency perspective of it right now, what's going on in the market. So with that being said, can you explain a little bit about your company and explain a little bit more of the services that you provide with your law practice that you have?
Absolutely. So as Derek mentioned, I'm the founder of the Pryor Law Group and Cornerstone Florida Title and Abstract. And of course, title is a key aspect of your real estate transaction. It really goes hand in hand, okay? So title insurance is one of the key pieces of buying or selling a home. And the way that title insurance works is once you're under contract, once you as the buyer or the seller, once you found a buyer for your property, or now you found a property that you want to call your home, it kicks into gear a number of processes behind the scenes. So from a mortgage standpoint, you have the lender who's going through a full underwriting process to get you finally approved. And from a legal standpoint, you want to make sure that you're getting a clear, good title to your home, right? The last thing you want is you found this dream home, and then a year, 2 years, 5 years, sometimes even 10 years down the line, an issue pops up where there is a lien on the property from the prior owner that wasn't discovered at the time you bought your house. And now it's your responsibility. Or even worse, you know, you have an estranged spouse that comes up and says, hey, I didn't sign on this deed when the property was sold, and I have an interest in the property. So from a legal standpoint, my job as a real estate attorney is to make sure that you have clear marketable title when you're buying or selling your home. And that includes performing a title search and title examination. And what that entails is examining all the public records to make sure that any conveyancing instruments in your chain of title, and that simply just means whether it's a deed or, you know, there are different types of deed or different methods by which you can convey your property, just making sure that all those instruments are legally sufficient, that they're accurate. And if there are any defects, then we're taking the necessary steps to correct those issues so that when you do buy, you have clear, good title. Another part of the title process is just ensuring that there are no outstanding liens or code enforcement violations or permit violations, things of that nature that could become a lien if they're not already a lien. So we take care of addressing all of those, resolving those to make sure that's taken care of before closing so that you are getting clear title to your property. So that's essentially the role that title plays in the real estate sales and purchase process.
Got it. Got it. So now, like I said, I know that COVID has affected the real estate market in a certain way. It's actually made less sellers go on the market. And as a result, it changed the value of homes. How has it affected, like, I know that it's still, like, we've had some deals recently. How has it affected the title market on a whole? Like, what's happening there? Can you speak a little bit to that?
Well, I'll tell you this, interestingly, and perhaps this is a testament to the strength of the real estate market. As we've been discussing so far, the market is still pretty strong. March and April have been two of the busiest months on record for us as the title industry. So we really haven't seen that fallout. We're still closing loans, and I think a lot of, you know, for the lenders that still remained in the market, a lot of them were trying to push those loans through because we didn't know what was going to happen with the interest rates. Or a lot of people wanted to buy because of before there, you know, there was an uncertainty. So we don't know what's going to happen. Is the market going to crash? You know, are the interest rates going to spike? So I think those factors kind of drove the title market and the real estate market to keep going. So it's been a busy month. Definitely a busy couple of months rather. We've definitely had to make adjustments to facilitate closings. So it hasn't been business as usual, even though we've been busy. Some closings needed to be done remotely. We've accommodated certain parties, people didn't feel comfortable leaving their homes. So we've accommodated that by having signing agents go to people's homes or places of business to do one-on-one signings. And then for the closings that we've absolutely had to do in person, of course, we've implemented measures to ensure the safety of everyone. So we've limited signings when people come for their signings, only those parties absolutely necessary. You're not bringing extra family members. We're wearing face coverings and masks, and everyone is 6 feet apart in our conference rooms. Everything is disinfected before and after each closing. So it's been business as unusual, but
Like that.
good surprise. The market, the real estate and title market is still going strong.
So just with your closings in general, have you been experiencing any slowdown with the local governments? Because I know that a lot of local governments are working on half staff, like some of they furloughed some of the employees as well as other reasons. Have you experienced any slowdown there just in getting lien searches and things of that nature?
Somewhat, but very minimal. So there was a brief period in March, I think, when everyone was still uncertain as to what was going on, where a handful of municipalities closed their operations and they were just closed entirely. But again, there were very few. Most municipalities remained open in some capacity. So either they had remote staff or they had reduced staff, but they were still open for business. So we had a brief period of slowdown and everyone was uncertain, but one good thing is that we've never had a closing delayed or canceled because we weren't able to get what we needed from a municipality. So there's been some slowdown, but things have pretty much continued to run.
Gotcha. So you mentioned that you have mobile closings where you can have someone actually come to your home and close a loan. But I've also heard this thing called online closings. I haven't actually had one yet. I know that there were some restrictions put on it recently, and then some restrictions released from it recently too. So can you speak to online closings and explain that for the public just so they can understand what that means?
Sure. So Florida on January 1st of 2020, and other states had this in place before, but in January 1st of this year, Florida put into effect the remote online notarization law. And what that law does is it authorizes certain legal documents to be notarized remotely and electronically. So essentially the notary and the signer do not have to be in the same place, okay? It's done via webcam. So each party just needs to have a webcam. The signer's ID is verified through an electronic process where they're holding their ID up to the screen. And there's a system that verifies the validity of the ID. So they're holding up the front and back. And I've actually heard some people say that the remote online notarization is a more secure process than actually in-person signing. Because, if a person comes to my office to sign documents, I'm looking at their ID, making sure that it's valid and not expired, and making sure that it's the same person that's on the ID that's in front of me. Whereas with remote notarization, the ID goes through a different authentication process. Now, the notarization must be performed by a designated remote online notary. So it's not just a regular notary. This person has to go through an additional training. They have to take a special course. They have to have errors and omission insurance, and they have to have a special bond. So there are a lot of benefits to that. And, when we first started with remote online notarization in January, it was very slow. And really COVID has kind of kicked that into high gear because it's forced more people to start using it a lot quicker than they probably would have otherwise. Now, there's one caveat to the remote online notarization, right? So if you're doing a cash deal, there are obviously no restrictions. If you're doing something like signing a will or something like that, there's no restrictions in using it. But what we've found is that a lot of lenders have been somewhat apprehensive. So the process still has to be approved by your lender in order for you to sign your documents using a remote online notarization. And a lot of lenders have been hesitant to come on board. So even though we are up to speed and we do have the capability to do it, If the lender doesn't approve it, then we're still stuck doing a traditional closing.
Gotcha. Well, perfect. Thank you so much, Nakisha. I do appreciate that. I think with that being said, I think we've really touched on a lot of different aspects of the real estate market. We've touched on all of South Florida pretty much. I know we have Monroe County as well as Port St. Lucie that might be asking some questions, and maybe our next seminar, we can kind of touch base on those as well. But overall, from everything you guys have been saying, as well as what we've been seeing in the market, we've been maintaining a status quo that's been positive for the selling aspect. In regards to the buyers, it's positive in the sense that you get an opportunity to get a property with a very low interest rate, which is awesome according to Karrif, right? That's an amazing thing to have. And so with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close what we're doing now with the panelists and open it up to our guests and our people who have asked questions before. We'll let them maybe ask some questions to us so we can kind of answer on our side. Feel free to kind of go into the chat and answer and ask any question that you may be having right now. What we're going to do is we're going to actually have one of our other members of the One Market family come in and just read some of those questions off to me. Monica Fernandez, are you there?
Hi.
Hey, Monica. So Monica actually is our contact liaison with One Market Real Estate. So what her role with the company is primarily to just help every agent with their deal. We work as a team, like I said, so her job is just to kind of come in and be support for every single agent that has a contract or that is working through trying to get the property closed and make sure that that customer gets the home that they really want with little to minimum hassle and problems, right? Because problems tend to always pop up. The hardest part we say in real estate is to get the person to the closing table sometimes. So we try to do whatever we can to insulate that. Monica, there were some questions that were asked so far from some of the customers earlier on. Can you read maybe some of those to me really quickly, and we'll kind of try and answer that real quick?
Absolutely. We had a few great questions come in. The first one that I'm seeing here is, should I renew my lease at this time? Or is it safer? Is that safer than buying a home?
Okay. So that's a question that we hear a lot in the industry as well from a lot of people who might be thinking about who are actually looking to buy this year. But with COVID happening, the uncertainty happening, and with COVID, it created a situation where a lot of people kind of pulled back just because of that. If you do have a lease right now, what I would tell you is that I'm a big fan of ownership. Because essentially, if you're renting a property, you are actually paying a mortgage. It's just someone else's mortgage. And you're actually buying a house or buying a property. It's just you're buying it for somebody else essentially, because you're paying the same money, maybe a little bit less, if that, or sometimes a little bit more than you would if you were owning the home yourself. So with that being said, I'm always a big proponent of home ownership and purchasing a home. In addition to that, with home ownership, it comes a lot of like potential tax benefits as well. One of the things I could say is that if you were to rent the property out, you can get depreciation, get you some more tax benefits there. So the opportunity is there substantially. Unless, say, heaven forbid, something were to happen and you were to lose your job and you were unable to buy your house, pay for a house again, or pay for where you're living. You weren't able to afford rent. We both know that your landlord would quickly step up to get some things implemented in place to either help you pay or help you get out, right? So with that being said, if you were to own a home though, in that situation, as you've been told by Karrif, there are some programs out there that can help you through that tough time with the forbearance program. But in addition to that, even in a regular situation, you have an opportunity to kind of catch up, to go get another job, to get some more income before anything could happen that could potentially push you out of that home. Some of those foreclosures that would happen maybe a year, 2 years after the person falls short on payment. So with that being said, the opportunity is there where you're a little bit safer in a home that you own than if you were to rent something, right? However, if you are renting right now and you're in a situation where you're concerned because you weren't able to pay your rent at the month, there was an act, there was something that was passed with the CARES Act as well to protect you. The CARES Act suspended evictions in total to July 24th. So you have some time still in which you cannot be evicted. However, once that July 24th comes, unless they extend it, the actual owner can now go into the process of starting the eviction process. In South Florida, we also have something that Governor DeSantis did, where we were originally scheduled for, I think it was the 24th of this month, but he extended that to July 2nd now. So you're still safe in regards to foreclosures, as well as evictions cannot occur during this time period until the June 2nd. Now, like I said, home ownership has so many benefits to it. And with the interest rates being as low as they are right now, I think it behooves you not to at least listen to it. Definitely speak to, we have a bunch of preferred lenders. Karrif is awesome. He'll get you guys pre-qualified. And one of the things I say too is that if you're thinking about buying a home and you're not sure if you maybe you want to wait because you want to get some money together to purchase it, or maybe you want to get your credit in the right situation, I would definitely still tell you, go ahead and speak to Karrif. What we would do is, you want to plan it out. If you're buying a home, just in general, forget COVID, in general, you should try and speak to a lender as soon as possible, because you want to plan out the situation and make the right steps. Your lender will understand the credit and how your credit needs to be to get a loan better than you would. So definitely trust your lender. Like he said, he has actually people on his company that will help you with your credit, get your credit correct, so that now you'll be ready to buy a home. And maybe it might only take you 2 to 3 months if you do it the right way. So definitely touch base with Karrif, let him get you situated on the back end if you're thinking about it, but you feel like you don't have the money saved enough to go buy a home. We have some great programs out there through the first time home buyer program, as well as like other funding opportunities that are out there. We can grab you money from maybe some other methods of getting homes. We had situations where people who were renting homes were able to buy a home for less than if they were to go ahead and try and get a new rental. Because as you know, when you rent a property, you have to pay first, last, and security up front. So sometimes you're paying $7,500 to $8,000 up front. And I could probably get you in a townhouse for that same money down. So the opportunity might be there where it might be cheaper for you to buy a home because we can get your closing costs covered through other means. So definitely reach out to Karrif, see if he can give you an opportunity to kind of learn a little bit more about the best steps to take so you can get pre-qualified to buy a home. And it'll be a great opportunity to kind of learn maybe even what you might have been doing right, to kind of, and maybe you're already ready right now. If you were to just speak to him, he might be able to tell you, listen, you can buy a home tomorrow if you wanted to, and maybe even get you in a home in the next 30 days. Think about that. That's crazy. You can be like having your own home by next month. So thanks, Monica. Any other questions?
I don't see any come in right this moment, but one of the earlier questions is, for, those that are concerned maybe putting their house on the market right now, want to know how they can stay safe in showing their homes. What are the guidelines in place?
Well, like I said before, one of the things with that we do as a service, one of the #1 things we do as a service is our ultimate goal is to keep you guys safe. So we will do actual have a licensed professional photographer come into your home, take HD quality pictures. We'll do what's called a 3D tour, as well as a visual tour, a video tour of your home to kind of keep you safe, so we can limit the amount of people coming in and going out of your home. In addition to that, the CDC had a bunch of different guidelines, but they did revamp it recently, like I said. But one of the things that we would maintain and our objection would be to do is to kind of make sure the home is cleaned after showings. We want to make sure that any customer that walks in a house is protected. One of the things that we would actually do for your protection, as well as for the protection of potential buyers, is that any buyer that walks to your home would have to sign what we call the Covid-19 addendum that we have for personal access into a property. What happens is that it pretty much outlines the fact that we are living in some more dangerous times, and going in homes and touching surfaces can be kind of dangerous to customers and sellers as well. So by signing that document, you create a situation where sellers are buyers who are coming into your home are accepting or acknowledging the risk opportunity that presents itself by venturing to homes. So the opportunity is there to kind of alleviate that with that addendum. We'd make sure that the sellers that we have listings for are signing off on that. But like I said, the main thing is social distancing in general. with the recent change in the CDC guidelines saying that surface contact is not the bigger factor, is actually person to person. So we're making sure that every customer that walks through your home has gloves on and a face mask are some of the things that we can do. In addition to that, whenever we're showing the property, making sure you're not home, that's a way that we can protect you a little bit more as well. We can, like I said, disinfect surfaces. And one of the things that we're not doing anymore are open houses. So open houses are not something that we're going to function. We actually, it was recently stopped in Broward, I think sometime in March. However, we actually implemented that back in February for my team, just because I recognized what was going on, and I just wanted to make sure, like I said, my ultimate goal is to keep my customers safe as well as my team members safe, which is important to me. So I want to make sure that you guys know that every step that we take is to prevent anything from happening to you and your family. And so we do not take these things lightly. It is your home, and we want to make sure that you're safe at all times. And plus, my objective is to make sure my realtors are safe. So I'm going to make sure the best techniques are taken each time with every listing that we have. So any other questions on there, Monica, at all, or?
Nothing that's come in from the members that have joined us today, but we did have an earlier question, which is one of the most popular ones I think right now. It's what is happening to the market? Is it going to crash? And we might have addressed this earlier, but it seems to be a big concern.
Yes. Yeah, so we did kind of touch base with that a little bit. What's going on with the market? As we said in the real estate market in general, there's been a constriction on homes that are available for sale. So because of supply and demand, the natural supply and demand, we still are seeing buyers out there wanting to buy right now because of the fact that the interest rates are so low. And also a lot of people their uncertainty with the market are pushing them to kind of want to buy right now. So because buying interest is still present, and the actual availability of homes is actually decreased substantially, the value of homes are still going up. So right now the market has been very good. Now, do I think it's going to crash? No, I don't, because of the fact, I can't say it will or will not, but I'll say the trend is showing that it's not, because of the fact that, like Karrif mentioned, the type of lending has changed from what it was in 2009 and 2008, where people were able to get loans without having the substantial income to make it happen for themselves. Whereas now people are actually being vetted and qualified for these particular loans. So the actual people that are buying properties right now are people that can afford them. So as a result of that, we don't have that internal opportunity at combustion, right? We have anything that's happening right now are more external factors that are putting pressure on the market. And with the fact that, like I mentioned before, that the actual in 2007, 2008, the type of job loss that we were experiencing were more in the professional and business sector as well as the manufacturing sector. Right now, like I mentioned before, in April of 2020, there were about 20 million jobs, a little bit more than 20 million jobs lost. I think 8.7% of them were in the leisure and hospitality industries, which don't affect the real estate market as much, right? Because the professional and the manufacturing industries and business industries are what drives the market and what economists use to figure out what the real estate market, what's happening with the real estate market. So, and those industries have maintained a little bit of stability. People are losing jobs, don't get me wrong, but the numbers are like 1 million as opposed to 8, 9, 10 million that you're experiencing in the leisure and hospitality industries. So as a result of that, I'm pretty comfortable with saying that I don't think there's going to be necessarily a crash, but I do believe things have been stable, and actually things have been increasing steadily every month. So we'll see what happens as the data changes. This can change, of course, so I'm not saying that it's guaranteed, but I can tell you the trend right now for the last 2 months is showing that it's an increase in the market, and the market's been doing very well. Now, there will be, one thing I will say though, let me just put this caveat on there, is that what I am expecting is a rush on the market, a run on the market, meaning that once we get past this horrible thing of COVID and things kind of go back to normal a little bit and people start getting back their jobs and things of that nature, what we're going to see is a lot of people who were hesitant to sell their home, put their homes back on the market. And those people that were hesitant to buy a home will be jumping back into the market. So as a result of that, I just can't imagine that what's going to probably happen is that real estate's going to be crazy again. I know with some of the listings that we do have, we were getting like multiple offers on those properties because of the fact that, you know, everybody was rushing to buy at that time. I can't imagine what it's going to be like in a couple of months, hopefully when this thing is over and the market goes back to what we were experiencing before. It's probably going to be a lot crazier. So I hope that answers the question. And so I guess, I mean, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I didn't want to go too much longer. Like I said, I definitely do want to have this more frequently. I want to see if we can maybe do this on a consistent basis, bringing in different realtors from our company to speak on their local areas and what's happening in those local markets. So definitely go ahead and friend us on Facebook. We actually are on Instagram as well. Just go to Facebook/One Market Real Estate and you'll find us there. Our handle on Instagram is the same. So definitely jump in, find us there on those different platforms, and we'll keep you informed. We'll email you information as it comes available to us. And we definitely want to keep you informed as a public. I know a lot of people are hurting. I know a lot of people have been affected by this horrible disease. I've had some family members as well who've been affected by it, as well as some other people with our company. And so as a result of that, you know, honestly, what we got to do as a people is we got to kind of just all support each other, stand with each other. We're going through some challenges, some tough times, but what I've learned from my experience in the industry and also my faith is that, you know, through tough times, if we stand together in love, we will overcome it. And although we may be scarred and beaten and bruised a little bit, we will come back stronger. So thank you guys for all attending. Thank you for the panelists for coming through. Karrif, thank you for coming. Nakisha, thank you for speaking. And Rose, of course, thank you for speaking. Monica, thank you for speaking. Thank you to the guests that have come by and joined us today. Definitely stay in contact with us. We'd love to kind of give you guys any more information you need. If you do have any questions whatsoever on the market or any questions on what's going on, feel free to reach out to any one of us. I'd love to help you and help in any way I can. Thanks again for everything, guys, and keep the faith, and we'll see you guys soon.
No problem. And then also, guys, if you guys have any questions on mortgages, I have put my contact information in the comment section. Feel free to give me a call or send me an email anytime. I am available on weekends and holidays. Like Derek said, we get deals done no matter what within a very quick time frame. That's why I'm always available. So reach out to me anytime if you have any questions. Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye. Bye, everyone.